Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alicia Armendariz, and today I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons to buying new builds or new construction. Now, you may be already considering buying new construction and think it's a great idea, it might work for your situation, but here today I'm going to tell you the pros and cons of buying new build if that's the route you want to go. So if you have any questions over anything that I mentioned here today, please feel free to reach out to me. I am a licensed broker here in the state of Colorado and would love to help you with any of your real estate needs. And if you haven't already, also hit that subscribe button and that bell to get notified when I make new videos each week on everything that is living in Colorado Springs. So let's get into it. So I'm going to start off with the pros of this list, the pros to why you should look into buying a new build. And off the bat, probably what you're thinking is the personalization and customization. New builds, for the most part, you can pick out everything. Some builders kind of stick to certain requirements that they themselves like to have in all of their homes, but for the most part, you can go in to a new construction home and once you decide to pick the lot that you want to be on within that community, you will then go to the design center and pick out everything from the light fixtures to the faucet fixtures to the doorknobs to the paint colors, the carpet, the color of your hardwood floors, whatnot. The options can be endless depending on what builder you do go with. So that is a big perk because a lot of times people want the home to reflect their personality, their lifestyle, their color schemes that they like in a home. So definitely looking into a new build is an option that works for a lot of people. And with all that customization, that kind of falls into reason number two. One of the second pros about buying a new build is no need to update. You already just spent all that time in the design center and, possibly walking around from builder to builder, different communities, checking out what each builder has to offer within their models. But hopefully you've picked a model that you like, picked a floor plan that you like, and now you've gone to their design center. You've picked out the finishes and the fixtures and the color paints that you want throughout the home. So no reason to update. And because so many of these homes are new everything, they are going to be very energy efficient for the most part. Not all, but the majority of the builders are really working on having energy efficient appliances. A lot of them, at least here in Colorado, you can find communities that offer the smart home where it's already connected to Alexa or other Google services. They offer the eye security, fingerprint security, what have you. That's really big here. And probably one of the last pros that I'm going to talk about for buying a new build is usually the builders have incentives. They have financing incentives where you do get money back or money off if you choose to use their preferred lender. If you do walk into a new build and you're not represented, which I don't recommend, but if that's your choice and you do walk in to a new build, sometimes they do offer incentives for using them as representation versus an agent. But more so than anything, you will see an incentive for using their preferred lender. By all means, I always recommend that you shop rates and talk to my preferred lender, or even on your own account, find someone that you work well with who can work some numbers out for you that work for your situation. But on average, that incentive from that builder's lender is going to be a couple $1,000s off. Like I said though, I always recommend you having representation and talking about that with a realtor like myself or someone else, just because builders for the most part, they do look out for themselves more than the consumer. They do put out a pretty awesome product for the most part with all of their model homes, but at the end of the day, the builders still look out for themselves. So going with that financing incentive can be a pro or con just depending on your situation. So the first con that I'm going to talk about for new builds is the expense. Just because the homes in that area may range between X amount of dollars to X amount of dollars doesn't mean that's what you're going to be paying at the end of the day. And you really need to be careful when you do go to a builder site, even if you go with your agent. When you walk in, the model homes that you're viewing are beautiful. They're all beautiful and modern and they have top-notch finishes. But you have to understand when you're going through those model homes, they already have all the top of the line upgrades from the design center. So when you actually decide that you want one of their floor plans, or you want to go ahead and sign a contract, get your home, start the process going, have it be built, when you sit down and you actually start talking with that salesperson of the builder, you're gonna start seeing how the expense can add up really quick. The lot premium price kind of has a base price, and depending where you want to be at in the community, your lot premium price can also go up. If you kind of want to be in the cul-de-sac part of the community, or you want to be at the back end of the community where it does have a bigger lot, and maybe it so happens to have the best view of the mountains from that area, that lot premium price is already going to be more expensive than, say, the one on the other side of the neighborhood that's kind of right next to the sales office at the moment. So just something to be aware of. And when you go into the design center, real quickly, things are gonna start adding up, like, you know, the paint on the walls. Do you want white, or do you want that agreeable gray that everyone has right now? Or do you want carpets versus wood floors? Because I guarantee all the models that you're looking at right now are gonna have top of the line wood floors versus the carpet. That is still good quality carpet, but going to be less appealing and less in price. Everything from light fixtures to, you know, do you want that fireplace or not? What type of stair railings? Do you want the stairs to be one whole kind of wall, or do you want it to be see-through with the railings? I mean, every little thing that you can customize, and that is again one of the pros, those pro items of customization start to add up really quick. So just a thing to remember when you are walking through those model homes, take note of what upgrades they have, and then also when you're sitting down with hopefully your agent, yourself, or the salesperson, you can kind of play around with those numbers and see what customization you really want or don't want. Because that home that you thought you could afford for $500,000, you can't afford. But with all the customization that you now want to include, you're gonna be around $540, $560. And like I said, that's just little things with picking out paint colors and what have you. So another con to be aware of, and I think you would notice this just walking around new build communities, but they're going to have less mature landscaping. Now, some communities do offer landscaping with the front yard, or for additional costs, you can get landscaping put in the back of the home. Some new build communities don't offer any landscaping. So even though Colorado is just beautiful and you have views everywhere, your neighborhood is going to stand out if it is a new construction neighborhood, because it won't have the mature trees and landscaping. And that may be a big deal to you, or it may not, but that is just something to be aware of. If you do like a lot of tree cover and you like those leaves in the fall, or you just want the trees for blocking wind and what have you, you're not really gonna find that in new construction communities. So the third con kind of contradicts what I was saying. Yes, there is a lot of customization that you get to do when choosing your new build, but at the same time, a lot of builders are still limited in those options. Some just have such a unique product that they feel that they have done all their research from across the nation. They've taken the polls, they've done the surveys, they have an idea what they think the consumer wants overall, so they're building homes that match exactly what they feel the average consumer wants in a new modern home. And that's great, because usually, again, those are beautiful. But if you do want to customize yourself as much as possible, some of those new construction properties are not going to be for you. Or maybe they're too modern. I feel like some new builds here that we have in Colorado, they're just so edgy, it's just not my style. Like that's, we have 7 faucets to pick from, and all 7 are just hideous to me, you know? So it could be one of those things, even with options, maybe it's still, you know, you would prefer the option of just going to Home Depot and picking out something that, you know, speaks to you. So you still can find limitations in your customization with certain new builds here in Colorado. And something else to think about when you're looking at new construction homes is they usually have higher taxes. Because that new community, especially here in Colorado, Colorado's very spread out. Colorado Springs, Denver is just very spread out. The further out that they choose to start building, the more that they have to put money into the city itself, the infrastructure. They gotta build the roads and the schools and bring all the utilities and gas lines and what have you. So your taxes on average are going to be higher in those new build communities. You definitely should run those numbers over with your lender to make sure that you still qualify, because they can sometimes put you over your qualification limit because of how high they can get. I think on average right now, you can see like $2,500 a year in property taxes for those new build communities, and even in some communities, even higher, double that. So that is definitely something to keep in mind, that even if you can afford that home, make sure you can afford those property taxes, because that might make you ineligible at the end of the day to actually purchase that new build. And lastly, one of the cons, depending on your situation, maybe not a con, but one of the cons that some people find with new builds is that the time frame. They just take anywhere from 9 to 12 months to build, and if that doesn't work for your situation, if you need to move now, you and your family, you need to be in a home because you just sold a home, or maybe you just need to get out of a certain situation, do you have 9 to 12 months to sit around? It depends. If you don't, then probably going the traditional route and buying a pre-existing home is for you. But if you do have the time, if you're renting and you can let your lease run out, or if you can stay with friends and family to save, what have you, just expect a new build to be around 9 to 12 months time frame wise. And right now, this is fall of 2021. We're still having some bounce back from COVID. We are having a lack of labor supplies. We're having a lack of labor. It is actually taking new builds now a little over 12 months to be built. So that is just something to be aware of. But overall, buying a home is definitely an investment. So whether you go the traditional route and buy a pre-existing home, or you decide to buy a new build, just make sure that you do have that representation that is always looking out for your interest, not so much, the seller's interest or the builder's interest, but your interest. That is definitely most important. And then from there, you guys can decide for yourself, is a new build for you? And if so, what builder do you want to work with? So if you guys had any questions over anything that I mentioned today, again, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to help you with real estate needs, or just answer more questions on the new build process, other neighborhoods that we have here in Colorado Springs. And also, if you haven't, again, please hit that subscribe button and that bell to get notified when I make new videos like this each week, because it helps people like you find information like this. So until next time, I hope you guys have a good one.